Hi there, welcome to my channel or welcome back. Feel free to subscribe if you're interested in any of these things right here, and if not, that's okay. You have no obligation to be here. I have no obligation to make sense to you. We do not have an obligation to each other. But for this moment's time, if you wish to hang out with me while I am on my journey and sharing stories, then welcome. And for all those who do not, that's fine, you can leave. And if you choose to stay just to cause chaos or havoc, I have brought my good gloves with me today. I'm just kidding. These are a joke, okay? I am not seeking anything. I do not need you to tell me things. I honestly don't need to tell you anything. I tell you things because I can. And I think it's important for everybody to use their voice and to speak about their experiences. And so I do. And if you do not like the way my experiences are flavored or the taste of the food I am placing at the table, we have no obligation to each other. You are more than welcome to leave. You are more than welcome to leave. And I will take your plate away from you. And you will not sit at my table. It is what it is it not? Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not seeking anything. I do not seek. I'm not a seeker. In fact, I am more of a concept. I do not even exist, so it does not matter what I think. It does not matter what you think. So who gives a fuck? Not me. So anyways, I wanted to fix my makeup today. Everybody who has stayed here, my friends, subscribers, old and new, hello. How are you? I have something other than gloves I brought for fighting purposes. I have wait for it. What are you watching? What are you listening to? What are you reading? I want to know. Tell me. So not only did I bring my gloves for slapping and challenging you to a duel, I also brought my magic wand. So somebody had spoken before about, so while I fix my makeup and hang out with you guys, I'd like to speak upon astrology. Okay, we will go into the waters of astrology through my perspective. Does this have anything to do with you? No, it does not. None of this has anything to do with you. If you want to join me, you may. You can. Of course, anybody can join me. It's fine. We can hang out for a moment's time, whatever today is. But I have some literature here I would like to share with you guys. I have my collection. I brought my books. No, I brought my books. It's fine. It's fine. I brought my books. No, there's more. This one's upside down. I brought books. Wait, no, don't leave. They just don't. I brought my books. This one's big, so it's gonna. I dropped my wand. But I brought my books, and so we will speak about astrology today while I do my makeup. Is that okay with you? Okay, listen, if you want to leave, you can, but I thought we were friends. And if you have an issue or something, that's fine. I'll see you later. Okay, goodbye. But everybody who has stayed, hi, we're about to become very close friends. Okay, and I want you to feel free to ask me any questions you want on any of this literature, which I shall then dive into within today's video. I get excited about information. I love information, and I can't stop devouring it. It is my favorite thing to do, is to eat knowledge and to find things, good, bad, ugly, does not matter. Honestly, it just is. So grab a cup and pull up, because we're going to talk about books today, and mostly about Chiron and Pluto. Some heavy hitters within the birth chart. This is my big boy. This book, if you're going to ever get a book, this is a very good one. This is a good one for when you are going down into the deep dark caverns of the mind and the psyche of human existence. This book I would like to be married with. I'm just kidding. This is a very fantastic book. Very beautiful book. Love this book. Very good book. Okay? This is my personal journal. What am I going to talk about that? This book is delicious. If you are, as I am, somebody who has a difficult Pluto and Chiron placement, This book is important for you. Anybody who was born in the 80s, in the 90s, super important, because we have Pluto in Scorpio, the 85 to 95. It's hard. It's hard. It's difficult, but there are also beautiful beings from all walks of life at all ages that have Pluto and Chiron in certain placements that are delicious for the collective and fantastical for information gathering. So if you are ever going to read a book on Pluto and Chiron, this is the author. Her name is Alice Loffredo. I don't know. This is her name. This is the book. This book I will never stop ranting and raving about, because it is the most holy reflection of dark divinity that is Pluto and Chiron, and we will get into it. Next, of course, Madame Judy Hall has written The Hades Moon. This is another book that I constantly and consecutively and consistently rant and rave about, especially on TikTok. Judy Hall is a fucking angel straight from the Lord thy God. Okay, and I joke about things that are spiritual and religious. I'm allowed to joke, and if you think that you need to correct me, that's fine. You can look at me as la idiota. I am an idiot. I am a fool. But I will tell you that this book is everything. It is divine. It is a fucking masterpiece, and there are very dark things in here psychologically that will fuck you the fuck up reading them. Okay? And that is what Pluto does to the moon. It fucks you up. And it shapes you in a different way. And so you become scary. You notice you have canine teeth and that you can bite. And this helps you understand the instinctual nature when Pluto touches your moon. Okay? The Hades Moon by Judy Hall. I will never stop treating this as if this is my Bible. Okay, this book has saved my life in many ways and helped me understand the instinctual nature of men and women and mankind in general. And as somebody who has a square to my moon from Pluto, who is in a very difficult position, I have felt like I have found a type of communion within this book. I am somebody who understands, so I am no longer alone in the dark. Do you understand? Fantastic book, beautiful author, fucking angel of a person. Next, this is by Donna Cunningham. It's called Healing Pluto Problems. Now, when you do have Pluto and it is obsessive and compulsive, whenever you do have issues with your Pluto placement, or you do have kind of a psychologically fucked off type of life, in a nice way I'm going to say this. This is, I will just read the excerpt from the back to help you understand. Guilt, resentment, and fear, emotional secrets, and their contribution to self-isolation. Abuse, domestic violence, Pluto, and the need for power and control. The psychology of being a victim, death and transformation, and the consequences of avoiding grief. This is just the excerpt from the back, okay? But here is also, you could pause the video and read just a little bit of the back. I don't think I could talk about. There are things are better not spoken about, but written down and then read. There are notes passed, and I'm passing you this fucking note. Read it. Find it. Half-price books, old used bookstores, online, Amazon, your fucking local used bookshop, the metaphysical shop. Ask them, speak up, speak out, reach out, see if they can find different avenues. Metaphysical bookstores, they have specific avenues they can go down to find you the literature that you need. Is it difficult to find? Absolutely. But if you have a fucked up enough life and you want to fix it, and you know you have the transformative power within you of the volcano, of the things underneath the earth, you will find the correct literature to align yourself with healing, to transform such deep depths into love, essentially, okay? Love thyself, So fantastic literature. Fantastic literature. All these books, they are recommendations for anybody who has gone through some shit. Number 1, look at your birth chart. Number 2, literature. Discover, read information, devour things. The only way you could change is through reading, okay? You have to, gather a torch and go into the dark and figure out, whenever the light goes down, you have to figure out who else's flame can I use as inspiration to keep going through these dark caverns, okay? Next, this one is actually really good. It's, sorry, it's kind of dirty, but this is the combination of stellar influences by the author. I cannot speak on the author's name, but this one actually has helped me as well. When you're going through astrology, it's important to have a smorgasbord of literature, of information. I do not think that it is okay to just go online and devour regurgitated bullshit from blog to blog to blog. I think that there are some authors and astrologers online who do hold a certain type of value, who I respect deeply and dearly. My friend is one of them. But anybody who is really, really into astrology should then go gather literature on the subject and read and devour everything you can and keep the books around as reference. Do you have to read every book that you gather? No, you don't. But like in here, there are different types of things that you could use on your path to understand the sequences and the consequences of certain stellar influences. Let's just say that, right? Okay, now we have here planetary symbolism in the horoscope. Okay, this is a very good book. This is a fantastic book. I like it a lot. Most of my books actually came from a dead man. So this book is fantastic. I enjoy it a lot. It is beautiful, and she's just very, very interesting. It's a very interesting book. It was for $8.95, but then I paid $4.48. This is a very good book, okay? And I need to get more. There's just so many things you can consider and learn about whenever you have the literature to do so. Whenever you are in your hermit stance and you go gathering, there comes a point when you leave that cavern and you feel a certain way and you must align with it, and you go gathering information. This is a fantastic information to gather and to taste and to pick the fruit from. It is very good. These books, these trees of knowledge, the fruit is ripe for the picking. It is delicious for the subconscious and the conscious to intertwine like two serpents on a pole. It is so fucking delicious and so good. Now, of course, there has been recently people in my comment section talking about God and Jesus and things of that nature because I mentioned the names of like Lucifer or the devil or whatever. And people, they feel a certain way. You're allowed to feel however you want, honeybee. I don't give a fuck how you feel or what you think unless I ask. I say, hey, what's that? But do you have to share with me your fears if you're scared? Of course not. Do you have to sit here and watch this video? No. In fact, I suggest you shut it off. With all my videos, I suggest, number one, that you understand I'm a fucking fool. I don't know anything. I don't know better. I just am. I just am what I am. And that's all, okay? So it's better for you to understand that I'm just an idiot. Okay? I'm foolish. I am a silly, silly little girl. There's no reason for you to be so scared of the things I say. There's no reason to fear information. Okay, there's no reason for people to be so fucking shocked that there are books, beautiful divine books written by fantastic women throughout time and space that speak on things above and below. And if you're scared, fine, sit within your fear. Go back to your humble abode. Go back, shoo, gone, get off my doorstep. Don't make me pull the gloves out, slap you again. But I don't care if you're scared. If you're fine, that's between you and yourself, your own fear. But the people who are not afraid to go into the deep, dark depths and start looking around and poking around what's in there and think differently and not just hold on to an idea and think this one idea is the way to go. It's not. I'm sorry, but there's so many ideas out there, and there's so many different things, and there's so many different honestly, there's a lot of different religions and things like that too. So it's important for you to ask questions to begin the questioning cycle. And if you choose not to, and instead you're scared and you're like, you stupid little girl, you're dumb, what you say is wrong, evil, bad, read the Bible, blah, blah, blah. I have read the Bible many times. What are you saying? That I need to go read it again? Why would that please you? if I go and read the Bible and submit to the random people in my comment section, would that please you? To know that this little girl, this foolish little girl who has the books and has gone through a sad experience, she read the Bible. Oh, I know, Christ. And its many forms. Perhaps find the divinity within yourself and fuck off. Go, boy. Why are you here? Shoo. Anyways, those who stay here, those are my friends who are interested in literature about astrology. This book is interesting. It's Chiron, okay? Chiron, The Rainbow Bridge Between the Inner and Outer Planets by Barbara Hand Clow. Now, this one's interesting because in certain, first of all, it goes very deep into Chiron, which is mostly what I'm speaking upon now. I have a very difficult Chiron placement, and throughout my life, I have had to learn how to deal with that immortal wound. We all have Chiron within our own birth charts. You do. It's, let me see if I can find a little picture. This is what it looks like within your birth chart, okay? And so I will just grab a random birth chart right here, and then I will circle where Chiron is. That way, you know, it's none of your business to look at my birth chart. Okay? We're not talking about me. We're talking about Chiron. And so I like this one because there is a point in the book where she shows, oh, there we are. So she has many different charts. And I love charts and data. This is an artist. Here's Chiron. Here's what Chiron looks like. If I haven't already, that's what it looks like. Okay, within the birth chart. And the Chiron here is, it's in Scorpio. That's interesting. Anyway, so Chiron. That's what Chiron is. So you're probably like, well, what is Chiron? Well, there are myths that are old as time. A tale as old as time. Tale as old as time. There are tales as old as time. And there are myths that have evolved with us and sat with us since the beginning of us. Since we were itty bitty to nothing to something. There are myths that we have been enveloped in and have surrounded ourselves with, within the world, within ourselves, within your own familial settings. There are people on the stage and they play out certain things, and essentially and eventually it can be diluted down to a very specific type of interaction that is psychological and is enveloped in myth. At least that's what some people feel and believe, okay? So personally, I feel, me personally, do you have to listen to what I say? No. Do you have to be here? Also no. Okay? But personally, how I feel is that we can use these myths and stories as different rings in our ladder to ascension, to reach that type of high place, to then observe and look around at things with non-biased eyes and non-biased ears and non-biased sensations, just to see it as it is, whatever it is. So how do you get to a place as high as that? Well, you listen to stories, you watch things, you fall into art, you envelop yourself in things that make you feel a certain way, that ignite your passions and your instincts, and you start understanding and wondering. Now, are more people more, you know, there's a special word, are more people more something towards going that way? There's a word, it's fleeting. Are certain people born, let's just say it like that, let's just encase it and enshroud it in mystery, shall we? Are some people just born with a lucky star? Absolutely. Some people just have a real fucked off life and they want to understand the meaning. There has to be a purpose, correct? Or there has to be. Why would there not be? So those kind of thoughts begin the hero upon its journey to say, why the fuck? How the fuck? Who the fuck? You know, the frustration and the anger arises within you like a slumbering dragon, and then you start trying to ask questions, and then it kickstarts you into a journey into the wilderness of mankind and inside of you and our psyches and your blood and your family tree and your trauma and your karma and the collective karma and consciousness and everything and anything and nothing. all wound and bound through time and space. You are like, well, what's my thread in the tapestry of life? And how do I affect this grand piece? What the fuck is it? Like, what the fuck am I? What the fuck, you know? So you'll get to a point, maybe not, where you start asking questions. You begin the questioning process. You go out to the desert. Goodbye, Shazam! Boom! Boom, motherfucker. You're out in the desert. Are you hungry, thirsty? Yes, of course. Now you have instincts that need to be fulfilled. There's needs within you, and you must meet these needs on this journey, on this way. Some people are just born different, and we are stuck with a certain lot. Now you can take your lot and just look at it and be like, fuck, man, what the fuck? Or you can become creative. You can become creative. You can use the transformative power to become creative, to align yourself with certain cycles, and to take your shitty lot like a fairy godmother and Shazam and turn that fucking pumpkin into a carriage and get the fuck out of town. But it takes time. It takes questions. It's not going to happen overnight. You could get institutionalized. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to get institutionalized. Nobody wants to be put in time out. Ugh, come on now. Nobody wants that. Do you? Then that is your journey. If you want to, you do. Sorry, my cup's gross. Let me drink out of it from this side so it's not so gross. So, anyways, with Chiron, let me go back. So yeah, it's going to take time. You're going to have to ask questions. And people who have a fantastic life, you're born rich, silver spoon in the mouth, there is a tendency for them to not ask too many questions. And astrologically, when you come to the point of understanding aspects in an astrological chart, you will begin to notice the people who have pretty blue lines, sextiles, trines, harmonious aspects, the way their orchestra and symphony within their body is, it is beautiful, and they have the things you wish you could have. They are living a grandiose life of beauty and whatever they need and want. But when you feed a child everything it needs without it even asking for it, it becomes spoiled. And so the people with the beautiful life and the beautiful lines end up accidentally creating a ripple of karma within this life because they are a spoiled, rotten child. Life has given them everything. They are lucky, lucky star, lucky day. Congratulations, you know. Very good constellation. And unfortunately, then within this life, they go back into, you know, the next life in some schools of thought. You reincarnate and go back to the next life, and now you have harsher aspects because we give you everything. You have done so much good. Here's your good karma, right? Essentially, and then you, because you have everything you could ever want, you start doing none of bad things and racking up frequent flyer points straight to hell, so to speak. With me, I have tons of harsh lines, and through the harsh lines, the difficult aspects, the fallen planets, the fallen angels, through these things that hum and sing within my birth chart. Everybody's birth chart is unique. Nobody will have the same birth chart. Even twins born will have different degrees and aspects, okay? Everybody is unique, and yet you are all a piece of the gigantic, grandiose universe. You are. You cannot be separated. I'm sorry to inform you of such things, but it is what it is. So when you come from such humble beginnings, it is difficult. It is difficult. Of course, there's struggle, there's pain, there's karma, there's conflict. There is conflict resolution that comes very, very later. But then there's a grinding process. You're on the grindstone. There's a type of process that the human soul and the body goes through whenever we're talking about evolutionary astrology, so to speak. So then from these moments of great trials and tribulations, you understand perhaps this is Saturn in a mask, perhaps this is Pluto, perhaps this is Uranus, perhaps that is Jupiter fallen. Is this Mars an opposite to my ascendant? What are these things? What is it? What are these things? You start asking questions. And of course, number one, you will seek questions and you'll ask the wrong person. You'll start understanding there are certain people you may not ask because you will receive rejection. Rejection will set you back. A cycle will happen. You're set back. Maybe you leave it alone. Maybe you left astrology alone and now you're set back. So from that setback, you go into fuck, and then it starts again. You're back on the grindstone. They're mulling you over, things of that nature, and you start questioning again. I start feeling a certain way because it never left. The humming was always there. The orchestra still playing, just in a faraway place. But whenever all is silent, late at night, you're looking at the stars and the moon and how things are relating to each other. And that one looks like a giant triangle, and this one looks like a big fucking bush, whatever. Then you'll start going, your cup will start flowing with a certain type of wine. And you'll go, what is this? You'll say, what? So anyways, back to Chiron. So Chiron in the birth chart is where you are immortally wounded. Now, I've showed you the literature. I've showed you the book. So for Chiron, mostly, because I have, these are the ones that I, these are the books that I usually use because my Chiron and I think my Pluto are touching each other too. And so I have some Pluto aspects. So with my Chiron, it's difficult. So there is, I have Pluto, first of all, in a very difficult placement, and psychologically it's extraordinarily draining, and yet I love him. I do. I love Pluto. I'm sorry. I cannot help you there. I love Hades. I love Pluto. I love the myths of the underworld. I do. And so I frequently travel there. I have a great respect for them. Him, it, they, that, whatever. Essentially the mythos, the myth that is Pluto and Hades, his story, its story, the story that is ever evolving and changing within each of us, because we all have Pluto placements, at least in Western astrology and in certain astrological avenues. Now, of course, you go to Vedic astrology or astrology based in India or the East. There is a type of thinking that is separate than the way we think in the West, and that's fine, because eventually and essentially, if you step back far enough, it's all the same thing. We're all a part of the same picture. We're just all playing different roles. So I'm speaking mostly on Western astrology right now, which does involve Pluto as a planet and a heavy hitter within a birth chart. Like I said before, guilt, resentment, fear, emotional secrets, taboo. The biggest thing with Pluto is taboo. Guilt, shame, the no bad stuff, things that are hidden, things that are underground. I'm holding my books like they're babies because they are my babies. Things that are underground, things that are hidden from you, things that are compulsively fucked off and scary, people's phobias. I mean, Pluto, he is the lord of the underworld, right? In a certain way, in a certain aspect, the things that are so far away from the light of God, the sun. Pluto, essentially in our solar system, is and is not anymore. The scientists, they have had a meeting by candlelight and said that he is no longer there. We cannot be for sure what is out there, can we? Can we really? Is he in the depths, in the darkness? I don't know. I've never seen him. I've only heard stories about him. There's a rumbling beneath the earth, and within every molecule and atom throughout the universe, there's a truth, and the truth evolves into the story. It becomes and becomes and becomes. From a tiny place of nothingness, the seed grows into a full-grown oak tree, So, love and respect for Pluto. Unfortunately, whenever he's in his lowest vibrational frequency, when Pluto is low and dark and deep, he's like a bass that moves your body in a way that is so problematic. It fucking hurts. Try doing surgery on yourself without anesthesia. Try ripping teeth out without numbing gel. Pluto is important to the human psyche. He is. He really is. Okay? And because I have such a great respect for him, I will not stop talking about him. I will not stop talking about Pluto problems. Any good person understands that they have the fucking badass capability to be a shitty person. Any person who is full will understand fully both sides of themselves and all of the facets and assets that they have, okay? Pluto is important, okay? In a birth chart, he's important. There are fantastic videos on YouTube. There's literature. I suggest you go find where yours is and how he is acting in your birth chart. And some people have Pluto in the highest vibrational frequency, and they're psychiatrists, and they're doctors, and they're scientists, and they are healers. But in Pluto's lowest vibrational frequency, he is a killer. A healer or a killer. And what you choose to do with that information is solely based upon you. Okay? So, then of course, like I said, the Hades moon is so important, so delicious. Tons of stories. And that's the thing. This book is written about people's stories, her investigating people who have the similar placement, going down, boots on the ground fucking work, talking to people who have a Hades moon, moon conjunct Pluto, moon in the 8th house, the moon aspecting Pluto in any way, shape, or form. When Pluto touches la bella luna, when Hades is intertwined with the beautiful, beautiful, divine, sweet, mushy baby that is the mind, your inner psyche, how does that fucking change the flavor of the full meal deal, okay? So this book to me is important. It's fascinating because you develop an understanding of Pluto problems as well. You start taking that shit. You start taking your psychological bullshit, your compulsions and your sexual taboos and all of the things that have been hidden in the fucking realm of hell within yourself, your personal hell. And you go to the throne and you see him sitting there, and then instead of cowering in fear or cussing him out or throwing sharp objects at him, he just sits there silent in his power, in his realm. And then you go up to him, you take this literature, you read it, and you get the cojones and you go into your personal hell and you say things such as, hi, hello, how are you today? And when you have a certain amount of respect for the person who radiates that kind of power and vibrancy, when you can lower yourself to those depths with respect and innocence and questions, there's going to be work that needs to be done. It's going to be scary. You're going to be shocked and scared and frightened. There are things in the underworld that are spooky and have teeth, but you'll understand that you do too. And so you're not as innocent as you think you are. You have canines, something long forgotten in the past. You have done. We have all done things that we felt shameful, guilty, like we had to hide it really quick. We've all done that. But Pluto, the power of Pluto is to take that and to turn it into something else. You know, the humble beginnings. How does a mountain come to be? You know, the shifting of the surface, the tension, the friction over time. You know, Pluto's amazing. So anyways, back to Chiron. I'm so sorry. The whole reason why I cannot separate Pluto from Chiron is because personally I have a Pluto Chiron kind of thing going on here. So when I speak of Chiron, I must speak of Pluto because that's my path. That's how I am, and these are the things I must speak on. And so, you know, you have your path, and if you're here, you probably resonate with something I'm saying, unfortunately, because that means, unfortunately, that you've had a fucked up life too. Maybe you've done some fucked up things. I'm not here to judge you. That's not my spot in life, in time and space. But you should not judge yourself either. Lay it bare. Be honest with yourself. Be what you are. You know, stand in your power. Let's go to Chiron, okay? So, I have this, okay? For all the doo-doo heads out there. Reverse card, sorry. I use stupid things as my markers and books. I am not some kind of all-knowing wizard of doom. I am a fucking idiot, and I will stand by that. Okay? There's a fucking thank you card. So, let's talk about Chiron, okay? Now, this book is fantastic. There was only one book. And in the beginning it says, for all of those who walk wounded with me. And then she signed it, blessings on your way, Alice, November 1st, 2018. Content with an ordinary life, you can show all people the way back to their own true nature. And my personal mission statement as an astrologer. Content with an ordinary life, you can show all people back. The way back to their own nature. Anyways. So. Wait, where's my Chiron? Okay. So I have Pluto in Scorpio, okay, as so does my entire generation. And I equate our generation, 85 to 95, as the things that were in the pit. And the pit was opened when Pluto was in Scorpio. And out of the pit we came to rectify the wrongs from the past, okay? Which is why there's such an evolutionary need on planet Earth as of right now. And then after that, you know, it goes and goes and goes, right? But I can only speak on my Pluto. So I noticed that with our generation, Pluto Scorpio kids, hi, how you doing? Jesus fucking Christ, it's been a fucked off one, has it not been? But we have seen every nasty thing that you could think of, and some people have used various different means to align themselves with these nasty things. So some people became a nasty thing, and some people rejected the nasty thing and hid the nasty thing. And it's just the Pluto and Scorpio generation, we are this strange, like the baby from Eraserhead or something. We are just this fucked off thing that our parents were kind of ashamed of, and maybe we were conceived in a strange way or something, but there's something different within us. There is a gleaming in our eyes that just, it's a connection, straight up antennas to hell kind of thing. So you can hear the things in the underworld, and when I speak of hell, I don't speak of hell as in a Christian way. There is different types of that sacred dark place, the underworld, Hela's house, Helheim, is that how they say Helheim? You know, where Hela lives, Loki's daughter. There is a reason and there's a season, and for every season there's a reason and there's a purpose for everything. You cannot just tell me that, oh, hell is where bad people go and Satan rules hell and Satan wants you to come to hell. Maybe he wants you to come to hell so you'll pick up your fucking luggage, bitch. You ever thought of that? I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. All the things you sent down there, do you not think you should come rectify your wrongs? Do you not ever think you have been wrong? There is hell for a reason, and there are things down there that are in the care of others. So it's important for you to regain accountability, walk to hell, crawl through, submit yourself to the experience, and then pick up where you left off. You need to pick up your shit. Everybody has shit down there. We all cast things out of ourselves into the nature. You know, we all have these secrets that we hide from our own self and our own mind, and we go, that's not me, I'm not that. The truth is, yes, you are, bitch. We all are, bitch. Bitch, talking to myself, bitch. Girl, we all are. Still fuck up. No. But, so yeah, I have Pluto and Scorpio, and here it says, you know, November 6th, 1983 to May 18th, 1984. Then again, August 28th, 1984 to January 16th, 1995. And then again from April 21st, 1995 to November 10th, 1995. And Pluto does not return to Scorpio until 2229. 2229. Okay, and then again, I have Chiron in personally my 8th house. And you're probably thinking, well, what does that mean? Well, pause the video and go look up what is the 8th house? What is all these things? It's not my job to show you the way. It's my job to make you say, hey. Okay? It's not my job to show you the way. It's my job to make you say, hey, what's that? What's this? And once you start questioning, you go on your own journey. Goodbye. Bye-bye. So, intense traumatic and or punishing experiences in the karmic past wounded your ability to claim innate healing, transformative energies, betrayal, deep bonds are fucking obliterated, blah, blah, blah. Okay, people with Pluto and Scorpio have to live the Phoenix lifestyle, and there's very intimate taboos, there are very big betrayal issues, there's a lot of fucked off things. Think of the worst, grittiest, nastiest story you've ever read in your entire life. It was full of horror and full of lies and love lost and loss. And then at the end, you know, you're just left with this horrific feeling. That is essentially Pluto and Scorpio, you know. I think at the same time when Pluto did enter Scorpio, have to do research. But that's whenever a lot of people in Canada, this is going to be a completely side note, but I was watching a story on Wendigos, which I love. I love the stories of Wendigos. I find them to be fascinating. I traced the personally in my own life, I have traced the waltz of the Aztecs and Mayans up to Canada and how the things that have been affected there. It's very interesting because it did not start from just there. There is a waltz that happened from the Aztecs and the Mayans to the southwest and then possibly up north from Montana further. We're not sure exactly, but different tribes have different stories, and there's whisperings among people of the things you cannot speak on, otherwise it will revive them. So anyways, Wendigos to me personally is very interesting. Very, very interesting. And so anyways, there was speaking on Pluto and Chiron, there is a very large fear within certain indigenous communities and culture of becoming the thing that devours, and that it chooses randomly. The spirit evokes itself and envelops itself within a human being randomly, and you cannot separate it. Once you are cursed forever, kind of like the mark of the beast, right? And so then you go on devouring, and the devouringness then could possibly lead to you doing such horrific acts. It was something extremely feared, and there was many magics and ceremony and ritual to ensure a person who was marked to be fated to interact with a type of devouring spirit in the wilderness that would eventually take them and use them as a puppet. There is a very clear indication that indigenous cultures and communities did everything that they fucking thought that they could, including evoke their ancestors and do certain rituals and have talismans and amulets and rites and passages in order to avoid the confrontation from this devouring spirit. And so with the colonialization and the industrialization of Canada in certain places, there was the placement of institutions such as like psychiatry places, the psychiatric hospitals. And so certain indigenous people would fucking have dreams, and so when they would have dreams that they were devouring people, it was an indication that, or a certain dream, a certain moment, certain thing meant the big bad was coming for you, and you could not do a thing to stop it. And so then you would be marked by this beast of the wilderness and become devouring and be outcasted. So then once you accept the devouring beast energy, whatever it was, the Wendigo-esque thing, the devouring Saturnine spirit that wandered the wilderness came into you, the winter's call, you were outcasted and shamed and placed far away. And there was a whole loss that happened because you knew, they knew, and now the entire community knew that. If not now, when? And when it does, you will leave, and we will have to then come upon you and prevent you from turning into this devouring creature and killing all of us or something, once a winter comes. So when they would have these dreams and they would tell their chief, right? They would then do whatever they could to just kind of bind them or whatever. There was like a binding process that happens. But with the colonialization and industrialization and the institutionalization of the indigenous people, they sought out the psychiatric hospital. So they would imprison themselves. They would go and do some crazy shit to imprison themselves, because if they imprisoned themselves, then they did what they fucking could while they still had their body and the spirit was not on them to bind themselves into the institutions. And so then they saved their tribe, they saved their people, things of that nature. There's stories that you can hear, and certain people tell certain stories. There's a movie here that I watched, and it's a kind of a very, very sad tale, but it's interesting. It's got a lot of Pluto Chiron energy into it, Saturn as well. So if you are into astrology, you'll understand certain archetypes, archetypical patterns within things. If you have a certain type of brain, then you'll be able to pattern recognition and say, hey, look, there's Saturn in a certain way, like Saturn and Pluto and then Chiron doing a dance together. And unfortunately, that dance is this story, and this story is very sad and scary and tragic and lost and feeling fated to devour your entire community, feeling like there's nothing you could fucking do, nothing on goddamn motherfucking green earth you could do to stop it, because you had a dream, and the dream you told your mentor, the chief, the head honcho of the community, the one everybody trusted in to interpret the things that were seen and unseen, and he has told you, this is your fate, this is your destiny. We cannot stop you. All we could do is bind you. And whenever we bind you, you will hold that spirit within you, and then until you die, and then it'll be released back into the wilderness, and then choose another puppet at some other date. But what a horrific kind of like personal accountability to be like, you are the one who must hold this devil within your body. And then from there, we must bind you. You will no longer feel love. You will no longer feel compassion. We cannot touch you. You are tainted. You are no longer human. You are something different. You are now separated, which is the worst thing you could do to a fucking mammal at all. It causes a type of fucking illness in the brain to be separated from touch and play and happiness and community. There is a type of illness that breeds in the crevices and cracks of a mammalian mind when it is separate. Okay, so speaking upon Chiron-esque type of things, personally, my Chiron is in the 8th house, okay, and it is very close to my moon, and my moon touches Pluto, and my Chiron is in opposition to Saturn. And so I have to sit there and look at all of these things and go, you know, I have to sit there in deep contemplation sometimes and think about things. And it's very hard, because what Chiron is, essentially, is a place you'll never fucking ever heal. But you can do magician wonders for others. So it's a place that I will never personally heal from. It's an aspect of my life that is so dark and deep and tragic and painful and loud and eternally bleeding. It is the eternal wound. Wherever Chiron is within your birth chart is where you're wounded eternally. You're constantly bleeding from. And sometimes others can see that. Sometimes it is apparent where that wound is. Now, it's like the story, if the crack allows the light in, right? The break in the crack allows the light to come through. You could think of it in a healing way. You could think of it, you could romanticize it, of course. But it is an eternal wound, okay? And you will become so intelligent about the nature, the instinctual nature of said wound. This book is fantastic. This book is so fucking fantastic. You know, it's so here, they have, sorry. I'll just go ahead and open this and show you so you can try to go find it, hunt it down, devour it. So there are different parts. It's very, information is fantastic. It's beautiful. You can go ahead and pause the video and perhaps zoom in. But there's the childhood play out, secrets, being lied to, being manipulated, betrayed, early encounters with death. All very true. The biggest thing for me in this book is that everything they spoke upon about my personal Pluto and Chiron placements have all been true. I have been kissed by death so many fucking times. I can taste him on my lips at any given moment in my life. It is so dark. And it says right here, dark premonitions, feelings that you were, you know, feeling things that were completely out of control. OCD, fear of the dark. Absolutely. A lot of these things, yes, they are vague. So of course we all kind of feel this way. But then you have other things in this book. It talks about strategies for healing and gold. The gold you're going for are the energies, abilities, and skills that can be released within the lesson. So if you're going to do any research on Pluto and Chiron, this is the one book that I literally, if you have no money and you have no prospects, this is the one book. Find it any way you fucking can. And if you can't find it, tell me and I will fucking fight tooth and nail to personally send you a motherfucking link to wherever the fuck we could find this book. This book is so important. Okay, now can I heal my own Chiron wound? No, Can you sit with it and befriend it and learn lessons for your entire life? Absolutely. Absolutely. But mine is so specific to my life, and yours will be specific to your life. And then from there, you may not be able to ever be able to flex seal and slap it over that bleeding wound where you're constantly bleeding out of. But you can fill other people's cups up with the blood and have communion. Just kidding. That sounds gross. But no, you can. You can share your story. You can break bread, become blood brothers with people. See, like, or whatever. I don't know. Whatever the fuck you want to do. I don't care. It's none of my business. It's none of my business what you do. Okay? But for mine, it is just a deep wound. And so the only way I could transform that deep, deep fucking wound is by being honest and sharing. And then understanding that it is eternal. There may have been many, if you want to think about this way, many lifetimes where I have been wounded in the same way. So fucking what? There's going to come a point in your life where you can have a 24-hour pity party. My husband's grandmother, my grandmother-in-law, the one who is alive, is this beautiful Torresian woman. And she is so stable. It is immaculate. And she's like the matriarch of that side of the family. And I admire her nature. She's beautiful. She's strong and smart. And I love her. I there's something about Taurus people I just really enjoy. I think that they are so, to me, magnetic. I'm just like, wow, wow. But anyways, so you can have a 24-hour pity party over your life, whatever you want to, but you no longer can, after 25 hours, no. Spend a full 24 hours grieving. Allow yourself to be in the essence of grieving. You have work, call in, tell them you have diarrhea. I don't care what you say to your boss. Start the clock, spend 24 hours, tell everybody, I need to see a man about a wallaby. I don't care what you tell people, but then spend that 24 hours and allow it, the grief, the pity party, essentially, to run its course. Give it the holy light it needs, the holy consciousness of the grief, and look at it and go, I am grieving. This is hard. This is difficult, but I am focusing on it and giving it its attention. The crying child needs the attention. The grief in your life will need the awareness. So you have to spend 24 hours, not 25, 24 hours, not 23, 24 hours just looking at it, giving it what it needs. First of all, allowing it to vent. Then you can give it its needs. Once you have listened to the venting, you could start understanding, your grief. That's an analogy on grief. So you can look at it and listen to it, screaming. Well, does it need to eat? Does it need information? Does it need new diapers? Like, what does it need? How do you nurture that? You know what I'm saying? Nurturing your grief and giving it the time and the attention it needs, and then allowing it to grow into something else. When the crying child stops screaming at the 25th hour, then you can go, okay, now I can go back to work. Now I could go do my things, and maybe you decide, I don't like the way my life's living. Whatever, blah, 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 right? So anyway, sorry. This book is fantastic. Now, for Chiron, here's the thing. I'm so sorry, because I think this is important. I think everything I said was basically on point and on key for me, but it's not good information what other people are asking for. So I have to get this out first, and then maybe I could go do a different type of video, maybe a shorter one on just this book. But here's the thing. All of these books are important. This one's interesting because she channels Chiron. And so there's also this otherworldly thing. Now, do you have to take all of these books as absolute God and holy? No, they're literature. They're literally just information that'll help you on your journey get a better, clearer picture of something. This is a lot of books, yeah? It's a lot. Now, do you have to gather them all at the same time? No. I spent like $4 here, $5 there, $40 on the big one, but that was an investment, and I've used it for many years. It was a very wise investment. because it's helped me through so many different roadblocks. Okay, these are all keys to your subconscious and unconscious. Okay, who needs to go to college whenever you can just go pick up random books at the bookstore? This one is very interesting. All books are interesting. All books are very fascinating to me. Have I gotten books before that were bad? Yeah. I would just sell them back to the bookstore. And then, or say, can I give you this book and then trade it for another book at equal value or something? And they'd say, well, how used is it? Blah, blah, blah. It depends. You could go to Half Price Books and like trade in books and stuff like that for whatever. But I do have like a very eclectic occult type of library, and mostly my books are in the flavor of astrology. Now this one is interesting because she talks about transforming the Chiron wound. Now we can't fully heal it, but we can understand it better. And through the understanding, I feel like there is this evolution that happens within your psyche on some level, and your consciousness on some level, through devouring information, reading on things. Now, do you have to read everything in here? Absolutely not. You don't have to, and you don't even have to understand it. You can just look. This is a dryer lint thing. It's my. It doesn't matter. It was just a bookmark. Anyways, so I told you I'm an idiot. So it's just integrating, like, understanding mass consciousness, understanding your higher purpose, your higher consciousness, your lower consciousness, understanding all different aspects of consciousness. And then, like right here, it says each person who heals him or herself heals the planet simultaneously. Okay, because why? Because that information goes, we're all connected. The information that you use in order to alleviate the tension within yourself, heavy lifting books, Rocky, when you start heavy lifting information and just reading it, you know, it doesn't matter what, it doesn't really fucking matter. Like, so how do I explain this? Do not allow your ego to sit there and be like, oh, well, I think a certain way, and so everything has to go into that kind of thinking. Like, does it? Does it really? No. No, do not allow your personal bias to stop you from grabbing a hold of your destiny, going forward and doing your own work. Okay, please. Look at this. Isn't that interesting? Look at that. I like this kind of stuff. This right here? Oh, yeah. This right here? Yes. Information is your friend. Okay? Fear is information. Do not ignore it. Okay? You're scared of something? You're scared of going to hell? You're scared that, like, you're scared of whatever? Cool. Great. Fantastic. Investigate. Why? Do you want to sit here and tell me what you're afraid of? Oh, I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. I'm scared, like, what if I do something wrong and God hates me? Does it matter? Why does it matter? People are so obsessed with telling me things that are just, to me, are just like weird. Like, I always get into this kind of thing where people are like, oh, I'm so scared, if I don't do something then God will put me in hell, la la la. Then sit with your fear and let it be the shackles around your neck until you die. That will be your calling. Maybe that's what you need. Maybe you need to sit at God's feet with heavy shackles around your neck and just sing and serve him. That's fine. That's your life. You want to do that. That's what you want. That is your desire. Perhaps that is your purpose, okay? But sometimes, for the people out there who are sitting and wondering and questioning, but a little too scared, you might notice that these are not confining shackles, and that you could just lift them up over your head and then put them down and nothing will happen. Maybe something does happen. I don't know. It's up to you to figure out. But there will come a time when you start questioning. Is there something wrong with questioning? I don't fucking know. I don't think so. I love questioning things. I love asking questions. And of course, the biggest rejection is the Abrahamic religion tells you not to question. I'm going to tell you. Do it. Question. Who gives a fuck? Aren't you afraid of this? Aren't you afraid of that? No. I'm not afraid. Why do you want me to be afraid? What are you so scared of? Go watch The Village by M. Night Shyamalan. Just kidding. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Aren't you scared? Shouldn't you do this? Shouldn't you do that? I read literature one time. Read conflicting literature. Expand your consciousness. Read both sides of it. You're just going to blindly follow one side? Okay, you like the Pied Piper? That's fine. I have no problem with that. I have no qualms with what you want to do. If you have issues with me, that's between yourself and yourself, because I don't care. I'm going to tell you a secret. I don't give a fuck. But, whenever I was a child, it was very difficult. Chiron, it was very difficult. I was constantly, consecutively wounded with people's expectations of me. Personally, my Chiron wound was so painful because it was like I wanted to be, and then it was like, no. And so what happened was there was a point where I was with Gen Pop, the general population. That's prison talk, but I was with the general population with people. I was in the group and I was like, I want to do things. And so I started doing things that I would want. And it was, no, you cannot. And so then from my desires, there was a root of shame that grew within my desires too. So like, for instance, I used to go and pick flowers in the field instead of play with the kids at the park during recess. And when I would pick the flowers, I'd try to bring them into school. And the teacher told me not to. I was in 2nd grade. And so I got detention because I did it anyways. I picked flowers, tiny little white flowers, and I would gather them into bushels and I'd bring them into school. And it got to the point where I would hide them on my person and I'd get pat down before I went to school. 2nd grade, for picking flowers. And so they said, well, you cannot do that. First of all, someone might be allergic to those. You don't know. They told me all these things, fear as to why I should not pick flowers and bring them in and keep them. There was so much fear they tried to instill in me, and shame, to the point they said, you could be causing other kids to have allergic reactions. And then I would say things. I would reverse card their argument. Well, you allow these children to play outside. There are flowers out here. What are you saying? We are all outside right now. So what are you saying? Now I can't bring them in? And then they get mad when you challenge them and you question them. They get mad because you're questioning their authority. They don't want to be questioned. They want to sit on the throne and be, relaxed and in the ambiance of their power with their crown and their wine and their fine grapes. But there I was, this card. This is me. This card. What do you mean? And so the only, then I was shamed and I got put into detention and they made me write, I will not pick flowers and bring them into the school on multiple pieces of papers, front and back. So it went from being in the general population, doing things that I desired, then being forced to feel fearful and shameful and to question why I was doing these things and just trying to break my will. It was a consecutive will breaking within me, the Chiron placement that's so close to my moon in opposition to Saturn, aspecting Pluto in a way. It was the breaking of my will, and yet my will was like a phoenix. Every time they would think that they set it on fire or destroyed it, it would rise again, and I just would keep rising, and it was something they constantly, a weed in the garden, the authoritative figures around me kept trying to take out. And so there was a feeling of shame within that, Oh, I got separated from the general population playing at the park because I picked flowers, and now I have to go to detention for recess. I cannot play anymore. I have to write. They try to break my will, and they say at the end of it, they say, now sign your name on the paper because that's a promise. You did 5 pages, you sign your name, and you date it at the end. This will go into your permanent record. It is a promise that you will no longer break these rules. That's what it is. So I said, okay. And you know what I did after that? I went and picked more flowers the next day. They let me go back in the general public with everyone. I had a little gang now. I had other people. Whenever I came out of detention, there was other kids in the field now, right next to the park. And instead of playing the swings and the parks and slides, they were in the flower field with me. And I said, oh my gosh, like, did I start something? Did I start some shit? And so then there was other kids. And then I had a little ragtag group of little strange kids. And we were all picking flowers and bringing them in. And so it was then, when we lined up to come inside, it was 2 teachers flanking the doors with bushes of flowers, from taking all the flowers from the children. And me just being like, absolutely not. Like, we'll find a way to do it. And then it was me and these kids. Then the next day we were all in, detention. I will not pick flowers and bring them into the school. Sign your name. That's a promise. No. I will do the time that I don't see it as a crime. I think that you're punishing me unfairly for picking flowers. What? They were not school flowers. They were wild flowers in a field during spring. So some kids then were like, oh, my will is broken. I do not want to do this anymore. Emily, I don't want to pick flowers with you anymore. And I was like, that's fine. I didn't say you had to. I just do it because I want to. I fucking love them. They're so cute and pretty. And I want to take them home to my mom. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to bring the flowers home because they're so pretty and give them to my mom. And then the teachers were like, no, it's so stupid, so fucking dumb. But for me, in my Chiron placement, it is a place that I was wounded. And so it was like, the flavor of mine was that I don't think that I'll ever be seen the way I am. I don't think that there's a perspective that'll ever be clear for people to see me who I am and as I am and whatever it is I am. A full broad spectrum of me. And that's fine. I don't think that maybe it fucking matters at this point in my life. I feel like I've gone through enough Uranian and Saturnian and Plutonian transformation to understand that the best thing you could do is gather information on a subject, on a problem, and then try to provide solutions for it. You could look back at your life, go into those dark spaces alone where you have no stimulation, no friends, no distractions, and you sit with yourself in the darkness and you go, I remember those teachers. I remember the punishment for the crime of picking flowers. And I remember the gang of kids that we were all there picking flowers and they couldn't stop all of us. And it became to where the teachers, enough of us were picking flowers, the teachers just said, fuck it. The teachers didn't want to watch us in detention. And it got to the point where the issue that was not an issue, became so massive and elevated that now the teachers had to think, is this okay what we're doing? We're telling these little girls and boys to not pick flowers. And so then they started questioning themselves. And it got to the point where I said, fuck it, you go do that. Just put them in your pocket. If I see them, I'll take them. That's what it got to. So it went from a fucking innocent thing to a problem, to punishment, to resiliency, to more punishment, to a group punishment, to a group resiliency, to becoming this other thing that was it ever a problem? Absolutely not. Was it an abuse and misuse of willpower from the authoritative figures? Yes. Should they self-regulate themselves? Yes. But sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes it comes from below. It comes from us, the little things at the bottom, the little scattering things, the children innocently doing something, and the reflection of anger within the authoritarian figure, and then the constant to see that there was never a problem to begin with. The problem was within themselves, saying that I could not because they're made up rules. Because I said so, I said so is just such a cop-out. Why? Why, bitch? So anyways, yeah, sorry. I'm going to go do another video on this. So the person who asked, they were like, oh, you should do a video on this. I will do another video on this. But first of all, look into your Chiron, look into your Pluto placement, and start understanding the house, the sign, the aspects. Take a month out of your life. You don't have to learn it all right now. It is something that is better learned in cycles. You may go away from this and then come back later. Is there really a destination you got to get to? You got a hot date? What's going on? No, you can get this book now, get this book later, and read a couple sentences a night, and then do a little research here. Do you have to envelop yourself in astrology and the occult and lose your mind and lose your body, lose your spirit, lose your heart? No. It's best, these things are best learned throughout time and space. There is no, in America, we have this, gotta go right now. We have these thoughts that are, have to go, I have to do, I have to be productive. Productive is success. Productivity is success. It's not true. If you go to like any other country, there is a shift in thinking. America is a baby, so to speak. We are children and we think a certain way and we're proud of our thoughts, and our ideals and our functions, but we are childlike and foolish and so close to like the fool off a cliff. Yes. Okay, so the dogs are barking, the flowers smell good, and we are on the edge. So anyways, but like I'm saying, these things are slow. Pluto is slow. He's a big slow baby, and he's scary. Have you ever looked? I mean, let's look him in the eyes and see eternity and every bad and good thing ever, every shameful act, every horrific feeling, every horrifying thing that's ever existed is within the confines of Pluto's eyes. And the only thing that could ever match him is the love and innocence of his wife, right? So it's best to take it slow. This book is fantastic. It is amazing. It has saved my life. It made me feel good. Like, because the way they speak, the way she speaks on things, she talks about like different stories. A lot of these things, they provide birth charts and stories. So you feel like, oh, you can understand how things are connected because they tell stories within the information as well. So there's information gathering that happens, and there's also storytelling of other people's stories. And when you hear other people's stories and that they reached out for help and understanding within such difficult times, as a lot of people do with their Saturn return, with Uranus in opposition to Uranus, with certain times in your life, astrologically speaking, you will be reminded of the eternal wounds, and you will seek some sort of a solution. And so within the seeking of the solution, you will come upon many things. Some people, they go to tarot readers and stuff like that, whatnot. But if you're lucky, you will find a very good astrologer who can help you on your journey, and they will understand that there is a, when we speak on astrology, it's not always, how do you say, you get 10 astrologers in a room and you all ask them, what's Taurus? And they're all going to give you a different interpretation. Number one, because they all have different minds and they all have different perceptions of what Taurus is. But eventually and essentially we can come to some middle ground, some middle island between the 10 astrologers. That is essentially the amalgamation of what is Taurus. So get different kinds of literature. Get everything you can, okay? Half-price books, go online, Amazon, used books. Does it have to be a brand new, sparkly, shiny thing? No. Used, good condition. Find it within yourself to ask questions. You have it within yourself to ask questions. You do. Ignite that passion. You're into the occult? Fantastic. That's great. Magnificent. Okay, I think that's cool. Whatever, right? Should you egotistically be like, I know all, I am all? No. Who fucking knows? Nobody fucking knows. We're just down here sorting through landfills of debris from time and space. So your fucking pile has more silver spoons in it than mine. Does that mean you have more value? No, it just is. It's all trash, and we're all sorting through trash. Are you the king of the trash? Fucking fantastic. Okay, king of the trash mound. Fantastic. That's good. That's your walk. You're proud of it. Cool. I do not give a fuck. I don't fucking care. I have my own path, and it's extraordinarily difficult, and it's so fucking full, and it's always busy, and it's always loud, and it's always demanding, and it's a lot, okay? I'm ever shifting, ever changing, while still trying to hold on to myself. And then in between, I will have these moments of clarity where I have to go and pick up a book, dive into psychology, astrology, astronomy, something, and be like, what is happening? And then from there, I have to then sit with myself and go, why is it happening? How is it happening? Do I really need to absorb a new lesson, or should I just let it be? Should I just let this be and let it be as it is and unfold, because it too shall pass eventually and essentially, okay? So all that being said, your best friend is literature, okay? Your best friend is knowledge. And so there is a type of learning that happens whenever you start asking questions and diving through different ideas. Each one of these books is written by a different person, different perspectives, different childhood, different background, different familial wounds, different religious thoughts, different dreams and hopes. Sometimes it's an amalgamation of different people doing all kinds of stuff, okay? This book has many different people writing in it, and quotes gathered throughout time and space. This one's really good. I love this one right here. This is a good one because it has so many different voices and so many different fractals of consciousness within one fucking book. You could flip to any page in this book and find some kind of magnificent piece of work that then pulls you into yourself again, so you could go back into that bathhouse with many different pools and see what's in each one of them, okay? Like I said before, I don't really know anything, but what I do know is that I love books. I've always loved books. This is just a fraction of my collection. I have tons of books on astrology, tons of magazines. Start collecting. And you're probably like, well, why? I don't know. It's just what I do. But have I found some kind of happiness within the collection of books and information? Yeah, I like reading different thoughts. I like hearing different ideas. And the best way to hear non-biased ideas that are, people have to write books and they have to edit them, and it takes time, and so they really got to think about what they write. So there is some kind of deliciousness within older books. I just got a book. It's in French, so I have to go learn how to speak French. I have to go learn how to read French. So what I will be doing, and I don't know if I'll be posting every day or not, but what I will be doing is every day taking small sections out of that book and then translating them and writing them in my journal, so then I can absorb the information. There's different ways we learn. Some people are visual, some people listen, some people read, some people do everything. I'm kind of a person with many hats, juggler of things. So I take the information any way I can, every way that I can. Interactions, anyway, interactions, books, music, video, art, any form of art, I'm there. I'll be there. So anyways, I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope that made some kind of sense. It's difficult for me to speak on it because it is an immortal wound that never stopped bleeding, essentially. And like I said, just go try to find that book. This book, I cannot stop talking about it and raving about it. It gives you strategies for healing. It talks about stories, talks about symptoms, and it makes you feel not alone anymore. And here's the thing. You could sit in a pool of blood and you could just sit there for the rest of your life, and then whenever you're gone, people will say somebody must have been here because there's a high concentration of fucking iron and blood here. Somebody must have been sitting here for quite some time. Or you can get up and start walking, and of course you're going to leave a trail of bloody footprints. That's what Chiron is. If you walk on your path and you do it correctly, other people will be able to find you because you will be walking your way. And they'll say, who is this? What is this? Like I said, you could sit in your blood and your wound for a very long time. And that might be a part of your journey. Maybe you need to rest, and that's fine. I'm not trying to judge you. What I am saying is that there's going to be a moment something happens and you go, this cannot be fucking real. This cannot always fucking happen. This is always, and you start wondering why. Once you notice it, you'll start wondering and you'll start thinking and you'll be pulled back into yourself. Astrology is a fantastic way to sit there and understand things sometimes. Another thing is to talk to a psychiatrist, a therapist, get help, reach out, talk to somebody, read books, read literature, fiction, nonfiction. I don't care what you read. As long as you're reading, you're changing your mind. You're shifting your mind. You're giving your brain something new to play with. Listen to podcasts, hang out with friends, open and expand your horizons. Or like I said, you'll just sit in that blood pool for many years until one day you are no longer, and people will say there was somebody here and they did not move, and that's sad. Or you can leave your bloody trail of footprints throughout time and space. Take that wound to a high place, and then somebody will find you in that high place and go, hey, I got a fucking arrow through my heart and my head as well, and it won't stop bleeding. How did you deal with that? How did you deal with the immortal bleeding from the head? How did you deal with the immortal wound in the heart? How did you deal with the wounds in the ego that were so systematically done to you? How did you do it? And if you're in that high space and you're alone and you feel comfortable, you can share, well, here's what I did. I read about it. I walked my path. I walked wounded. And not everybody's going to walk the same path. We all have different areas to uphold. They're all different rings in our ladders to be in, and to sit there and, be as we are in our truth. And so that's important, right? At least I think it's important. But like I said, there's so much in this book that honestly I can't speak on, because if I said the words out loud, it would be very sad. There's a lot of sadness in Chiron. There's a lot of pain and torture in Pluto. There's a lot of things that cannot be spoken out loud. You just have to read it. So if you do have a difficult thing, you start here. You could start here. This is a baby. This one's more heavy. This one's darker. This one talks about things that are taboo, things you cannot speak about at the table in public, things that are very hard to come to terms with, a harsh truth. Something happened a long time ago, and it was not just a dream. It was a reality. How can you look that situation in the face and understand your own instinctual nature and then transform it? Okay? And then, of course, I love this book, The Hades Moon by Judy Hall. It's helped me so much through my life. She has a Hades Moon. She has a daughter. There is an understanding of our personal accountability and walking wounded. So that's kind of what these books are about. These books that I have are about, they're about personal accountability. And yeah, life is tough, and yeah, life is fucked up sometimes, but personal accountability for your personal shit, your personal path, and sometimes it's too hard for people to sit there and look at. So you need to pair your astrological research with a psychiatrist or with a therapist or with a trauma specialist, or you need to do different things at different times. It's fine, as long as you get the fuck up, and let's start walking through hell together. Like, I'm not going where you're going, but I could help you to the fucking gate. You could get the fuck out and figure out what the fuck you really want to do. There's no reason for you to post up here. There's no reason for you to sit here wounded eternally. You are free. You could take the shackles off your neck. They are not confining. They're not as tight as you once thought they were. You can lift them off and just drop them, and it's painful, and you may have rust rings around your neck from sitting there bleeding eternally, but you may walk out. You may resurrect yourself, revive yourself. Practice resurrection at your own discretion, okay? On that note, I'm going to go ahead and go. Fantastic books. I will try to leave all the books that I am suggesting in the description box. And I'm sorry, this was kind of a long one. And honestly, to me, I have to go edit this. And I feel like I didn't even say anything. And I'm kind of embarrassed because I feel like I didn't say what I wanted to say. I wanted to talk on Chiron, but I feel I can't do it. So all I could do is show you things. I could only speak in riddles and show you the things, the collection of books I have that have helped me understand the taboo nature of things that I'm not really allowed to speak about. But whenever you read them and you understand that other people have gone through them too, and you're not alone, and there is a whole entire civilization underground of people who are trying their hardest to do the best with what they have and what they have been given, you'll understand that you're not alone and you never were alone. And that there is a love, even in the darkest depths of what you perceive as your personal hell. There is a divine light within you, around you, and it will always be there for you. A deep, beautiful resonance that can take you to the highest mountain. Okay? So be nice to yourself. Okay? It's a hard walk to walk wounded. Be careful, be cautious. Your work is important. You being alive is important. If you're here for a reason. Okay? Try to find out what that is. Discover yourself. Okay? Okay, goodbye.